We're going to expand a little bit on the business judgment rule, and initially we're going to, get to the negative part and the threat part, I guess, a little bit about board members doing their responsibilities and how important it is that you pay attention to the regulations that already are written. And I'm going to read it off here because it's the NAC 116.405. Now, you're all going to get used to these numbers and stuff that we throw out, but you have to look them up in the NRS. And this is the determination of the Community Commission on whether or not a board members have performed their duties properly. Now, how do we get into trouble if we don't use the business judgment rule and we have to deal with things? It ends up usually in the Ombudsman's office.
Yes, it does.
And the Ombudsman's office is the arm that's really keeps our regulations, makes sure that board members are following them, and any homeowner at almost any time can file a complaint against the board member or the community in general regarding some of the regulations that are required. And it could be you didn't run a meeting properly, you didn't do a bid properly. There are all kinds of things that they could perceive as being not correct under the law, and they file an ombudsman complaint. And you're going to have to go through a whole process here of defending yourself. And there are a couple things that are helpful to know when we get any of these complaints that come in, because I was thinking, for example, you mentioned, I believe, about insurance.
Yes.
The director's insurance, that in fact, if someone actually sued a board member, one of you, they thought you did something wrong and it was serious enough, many times your insurance will cover the cost of defending you. That's why you have the insurance, that's why it's required, and it's important that you pay attention to that. Other things that they're going to look at, though, education. Have you taken classes like this? Is actually going to help you if you ever get into a problem, because you can say, we had a class on the responsibilities of board members and learning about regulations. So even if you made a mistake and you overlooked something, you can say we are educated. Yes, we might have made a mistake, but many times classes like this, and educational classes, CAI does a great number of them.
They do.
Ombudsman office does a bunch of them.
Ombudsman does classes, and they're free. And if you're a member of CAI, the classes are free when you go through the decal program, and these videos are free.
Yep. So whenever we get involved with legal action, it's very important. Make sure that you've at least documented everything that you can about any incident that may have occurred. Keep good records, and again, make the best judgments that you can so they can be defended. So that's kind of things that are important.
They are important. Does someone have a question?
Yeah, I've been in the corporate world now for almost 40 years. Are you telling me that I volunteered as a board member now, and now I've got to go take classes to learn how to do what I'm doing?
Yes, actually, yes.
Yeah, the answer is yes.
I mean, even though you're using your best judgment rule, being on a board of directors of a homeowners association, and some of them are multi-million dollars in their budget, in their annual budget, it's different than running an insurance company or running a grocery store or a 7-Eleven. It really is different. The rules are different, and you're dealing with people who live in the homeowner association. These are people, these are neighbors. You're dealing with them and whatever problems they have on a daily basis. So it's not like you have customers that come in and you might not see them again for a week. These are your homeowners, these are your neighbors.
But I understand how you feel. I was in the corporate world for about 35 years, and we think we've been through everything. You saw everything, you've done everything. They couldn't come up with another thing. Well, we're wrong. I have learned so much taking classes at CAI. There's so many things, the little intricacies, the way the rules are interpreted and so forth. It's been invaluable to me to be a better president, to be a better board member. And it actually has helped me being a better community member. I can help my neighbors, and I know some of the things that might concern them, and you get a chance to talk to them about it. But it's so important because in Nevada, there is a niche in HOA that you've got to know a lot of details, and you're never going to get them in a corporate world. It's very different.
And I can tell you, every time I take a class, Even if I've taken the class before, I learned something new. I might have known it and maybe I forgot about it, or maybe I just didn't hear it the first time around. So being educated not only helps you, but it helps your community.
You know, one other thing I'll say too about the classes is not only do you learn from the instructor, but it's the people who ask questions like you have today. Things that come up in the discussion, you learn from your fellow board members. There's a lot of interaction, and they may have already dealt with an issue that you're dealing with now, and they're great helps to you to learn the things. Well, let's turn a little positive now, Donna.
Okay.
Let's talk about what it is to be a good board member.
What it is to be a good board member. Well, first of all, you volunteer and you run for your board, and hopefully you're doing that because you want to help your community. And I've always said that when I was on my board, hopefully I brought something new and positive to the table. They were fine before I got there, and I know they'll be fine when I leave. But it's really important to make sure that you treat everybody the same. If you walk out your front door and you see a neighbor, make sure you treat that neighbor the same way you would treat the neighbor down the street that maybe you don't like so much.
Yeah.
It's really, really important. And make sure you take classes.
Even if you have to fake it sometimes.
Yes.
You know, it's important.
Faking
Put that
sincerity
smile
really
on
helps.
your face. Yeah. We all have people that rub us the wrong way.
But you know what? A handshake and a smile can go a long way. And I can tell you that as far as CAI goes, we have a library in our CAI office, which we're over off of West Flamingo, and there's a lot of material there. You can go online and get material to get educated. You can go to CAI National and get educated. I mean, there's so much at your fingertips that you can have access to. And really and truly use these tools. It will help you be a better board member.
I'm going to talk about some of the things that we've already mentioned, reinforcing it, kind of summarizing, the ones that are the most important. I don't want to miss any of these. All right, we talked about avoiding conflicts of interest. Even the perception that you're voting in a certain way to help somebody that's your friend, your neighbor, your spouse, we've got to avoid that. We got to talk about not in any way, shape, or form can they say you profited from your board position. Again, you talked about the landscape company that somebody owned and they want to use them. That's another no-no. And just avoid those. Any implication that you may have gotten some kind of benefit from one of your decisions. So that's another one.
That's where education comes in. It really, really does. I can tell you in my HOA what we did, and it worked out very well for us. The first 15 minutes of the general open session, we had some sort of training. And like this video. And not only does the board learn something, but if you have homeowners and committee members that are attending your meetings, they're going to learn something too. They might not even realize they're learning something, but they will.
Again, the concept of being fair in deliberation.
Be fair.
You know, just be open about what your feelings are. You still have to vote your conscience. I mean, that's what you're there. That's why you were elected to the board, and that's important. But the sense of fairness, that you listen to homeowners, that you understand the issue, that you've done your research. These are things that make good board members.
And you treat everybody who walks in that room the way you would like to be treated. You get up, you shake their hand, you say, "Hi, I'm Donna. Frank, nice to have you come to our meeting today."
Yep.
And if you treat people friendly and nice, they're going to respond in kind.
And I think the sense of the board working together. You don't have to agree. You can vote, again, the way you feel is most important, but the sense that you have a good community spirit, that you are looking to do what's best for all homeowners. Maybe you personally don't take advantage of the gym, but you know, you make sure that its safety issues are dealt with. You make sure that you have good equipment and so forth. These are things that, you know, you may personally not have an interest, but it's still your responsibility as a board member, whatever it is in the community, to be part of the decision making, to be informed, and to think about it from the standpoint of all homeowners, those who like to participate in specific things as well as things that you enjoy.
And like you said, you know, you can disagree on something and vote differently than someone else, but never be disagreeable. It doesn't help anybody. And me personally, I don't use the spa equipment. I don't. But I know I have to keep it in good order for the people
Well,
that
you're
do.
in better shape than I am, so it's working for you. You know, the other thing, and these are just, you know, common sense things, you know, we talked about the education, you know, and getting the classes and learning things. But you know what? It's also it's important to know what you don't know. Okay, so if you have a doubt, if you have a concern, if you think there are issues in something that you're dealing with, that's why we have professionals. That's why they're there to help you make good, sound business decisions. You are a corporation, and you want to make sure that you're conducting yourself as a good business practice type thing.
And make sure you let the manager manage. You're not the manager.
Yep.
You're not the manager, you're the board of directors. Let the manager do his or her job.
We're going to come back and again in just a few minutes and summarize pretty much the whole presentation that we made and look at some of the pitfalls and some of the pluses about being a good board member. So we'll be right back.